الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأعدوا لهم ما استطعتم من قوة ومن رباط الخيل ترهبون به عدو الله وعدوكم صدق الله العظيم. All praises are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the choicest blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon His most beloved Nabi, our leader, Hazrat Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having granted us the opportunity to present ourselves in this program, where the most important object is for us to conscientize ourselves in the matters pertaining to the heart, and the matters pertaining to our nafs, and the matters pertaining to our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ayat of the Quran that I have recited, here we find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made mention about preparing in war. Now what does this warfare ayat got to do with our topic here of purifying our heart? So the translation of the ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ, that prepare whatever is in the best of your ability in terms of strength for the enemy, right? مِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ, that is, for example, by using horses that will be used for guarding and so forth. So in this ayat, Allah Ta'ala is actually encouraging us to make preparations for war to the best of our ability. And we know that if somebody has to look at this ayat and he says, okay, there is a danger that we are faced, the enemy might attack us anytime. So this is the ayat of the Quran. And how did Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam make preparation? So we say, okay, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made preparation like this. He arranged for war horses, he arranged for maybe camels, he arranged for bows and arrows and spears and swords and whatever weaponry was used. And this person now says, I'm also going to now follow the way of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and I'm also going to get horses now, and I'm going to get spears, and I'm going to get daggers, and I'm going to get swords, and I'm going to get all those things. We'll tell the brother, you know what, you are not understanding what Allah Ta'ala is saying in this verse here. In the time of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the warfare was of that nature, where people used to fight with this kind of weapons. And in this day and age, the warfare is of a different nature. Now you find, all kinds, you find bullets, and you find guns, and you find AK-47s, and you find all these rocket launchers and RPGs and missiles and anti-aircraft missiles and helicopter gunships, all that. Now where are you going to come with your horse and your sword? It's not going to work out, this thing here. So why? Because in this day and age, the enemy is of a different nature, the weapon is of a different nature. Now that is one thing we must keep in the back of our mind. In the same way, in the time of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, earlier on, people also were affected and afflicted with all kinds of sicknesses, spiritual illnesses and whatever it might be. And according to that time, we find that remedies were given to them to purify themselves. And they used to do whatever they had to do. So first thing we have to keep in mind is Allah Ta'ala, if He is telling us that you must prepare in warfare against your enemy, and we know every country and every nation, they spend lots of money on acquiring the best kinds of weaponry, and somebody says, no, we're not going to waste time, we don't waste money, the budget, we're not going to use the budget for weapons and defense and all that. We'll say, you must be very stupid, man, because at any time you are vulnerable to the attacks of the enemy. So every cent is spent and well spent, because the country at all times has to be safeguarded and defended. Now, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a command for that, for us to be aware of our physical enemy, then shaitan, who is our greatest enemy, and nafs, who is our greatest enemy, are we also not supposed to do some kind of defense and do some effort to the best of our ability, to fight the onslaught of the bigger enemies than anybody else, that is nafs and shaitan? We are supposed to do that. And in this day and age, the sicknesses and the illnesses that are afflicting people in their hearts and making them so bad, you can't imagine what people get up to in this day and age. They say people actually do this. In those days, people never used to carry out this kind of sins. We're talking after Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam came. People were doing wrong and they were purified. But we say the things we read about and the things we hear about, we say this is unimaginable. Even animals don't do things like that. These are the things we say. Because in this day and age, the sicknesses are so bad, therefore our defenses also have to be very, very strong, and we have to have very good, sophisticated weapons to match the sophistication of the enemy, just like how we use weapons in this day and age to fight the enemy on the battlefield. So, because the nature of the sickness has changed, our ability to fight them should be also increased, and our capability should also be increased. We give you another example. First, when somebody's kurta or his shirt or whatever should get messed, you should go by the water, let water run over it, and the stain should be gone. Most is to use some soap, and not some sophisticated soap. The soap you used to wash your hands, and we used to use Lifebuoy and Sunlight in the good old days. Just use that and sort it out. Maybe sometime we'll use some washing powder. That was to remove the stains of that time. In this day and age, when any clothes get stained, there are such sophisticated, cleaning agents. Clean Green and Vanish, and I forget the names of them. In fact, it's an entire business now. It's an entire institution of removing stains from clothes and from carpets. You find major adverts are taking place, and all kinds of things and machinery is put into place to show you, see this stain here, this washing powder does like this, and this one doesn't do. This one cleans like this. This cleaning agent cleanses like that. So, if in this day and age we are using much more stronger chemicals and cleaning agents to take the stains of our clothing, then you must remember the sicknesses of our heart also are very bad in this day and age. So we have to make a great amount of effort to ensure that we fight the sicknesses, and we fight shaitan, and we fight the nafs with the guidance of the mashayikh of the time, the people whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put in every zaman and every age. Allah ta'ala has put people there, the mashayikh, who are inspired by Allah ta'ala, who are guided by Allah, and who are strengthened by Allah to help us fight the onslaughts of the nafs and the shaitan. So we won't be able to do it on our own. A simple thing nowadays, we can't fight. We have to get a security company, we have to get a sophisticated alarm, whatever it is in our little domestic situation. So we get people that are professional in that. And if this nafs is left like that, then we have discussed the sicknesses of the nafs and the shrewdness of the nafs, and how the nafs, if it is not openly taking us to destruction, it will covertly and subtly take us to destruction if we are not aware. Nafs operates very, very smartly. That's why those who are the mashayikh, the pious people, the buzrugs, they were very alert of the desires that used to come from the nafs and the demands of the nafs, and they used to keep the nafs in strict control, that we know all your tricks, don't try your tricks with us. And when a person is not aware, then he will do wrong, and if his nafs gets the better of him, his nafs will actually, make him justify the wrong and the haram he's doing. And he will feel okay about it. He'll say, no, but there's nothing wrong. So what if I did something wrong? I just had to do it. So what if I did it wrong? So we find, for example, those people who take the briberies in this day and age. How they justify bribery? Say, you know what? We have to take it. What's our salary? We get so weak, we get so poorly paid, so we have to take something on the side. And without any qualms, they feel there's nothing wrong. So that's why I'm talking about the nafs. It justifies, it makes you feel, it's alright to do something wrong. So they find an answer for everything. They will have a defensive answer for everything, whether it's for even the crooks, the chores, the people who steal at night. They say, people work in the day, you run in the heat, you make so much of effort, and you earn your livelihood. We work at night, dark, dangerous. We put ourselves through risk. What risk? Very risky business we are in. So if we get something through all our risk and our efforts, we just justify it. So the nafs is again telling him, those people work in the day, we work in the night. So we can give lots of examples where, people give this kind of explanations and justifications. Many years ago, many years ago, I remember when we were still in Jamustan, maybe was with us at the time, they were in our school, just after our school days. And we had a friend, Allah forgive me, alhamdulillah, he's reformed now, but we caught him out. He was having an affair with a woman, na'udhu billah, right? So we started taunting him. We said, "How can you do a thing like that?" Very sincerely and very, he says, "You know what, this woman here, she was having an affair with the Tamil guy. Isn't it better I saved her from zina from that person?" You see how people come out with stories. So we say, "Bhai, zina is zina. Where is this? What you trying to save? You trying to save her, but you throw your own akhirat away. Where you come with the thing like that?" He said, "No, but what if, tomorrow what if she changes her deen?" Even worse answer he gave. So rather, he's trying to save her through zina to save her deen. Can you imagine? So this is how, and he was serious. He wasn't being funny or giving us answers, but he had this kind of a thought in his mind that this is the way to go. But what he was doing, he was fulfilling his own nafs. So what we're saying is nafs operates in various ways. One fellow, he was committing zina and he ended making a girl pregnant illegitimate way. So people start telling him nonsense. That, "You know what, you were doing all this here. How can you do this? I mean, if you were doing this, you should have at least been careful. Now you put her through another difficulty." He said, "But I've been told by the ulama it's not permissible to use contraception." So this is how the nafs operates. They can't see. We find a lot of fellows when they have problems with their wives, they are abusing them and they are harassing them and they're doing whatever it is. And it reaches a point where we tell a person, "Bhai, there's nothing left in this marriage. Your wife wants out, let her go." He says, No, I can't do this because divorce, it shakes the arsh of Allah Ta'ala. By you shaking the arsh of Allah, by abusing this amanat that Allah Ta'ala has given you, then is nothing. But now when it comes to letting her go, which the Quran has said, you now remember the hadith about what? Shaking the arsh of Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. So all these examples we are giving, some of them are but amusing also, but funny. But the point we are saying is that if the nafs is not kept in check, it will give us such explanations and such justifications that all taqwa will be lost, and we'll be thinking we're carrying on taqwa. Like that fellow thought it's real taqwa, he's saving the iman of a girl. What taqwa he might be having, He's saving the iman of a girl. So we have to be careful. We spoke about this taqwa and we spoke about another level of taqwa. We said it's called wara, Arabic word. That means precaution. Where a person, to stay away from the major sins, he also stays away from the minor sins. And he stays away from everything that will even take him away to a minor sin. For example, let us take Marine Parade for an example, right? If you are in the holiday season driving on Marine, it's a fitna parade. Because why? There are all kinds of haram, people walking around there dressed in whichever way. Now you need to get from one part of Durban to the other part. So if you have to go through there, what will taqwa be? That you must look down and be careful when you're driving. Don't look this way, don't look that way. It's haram. Your eyes are going to really fall on something. But wara will be that don't even use that road. Use the parallel road. Use another road. Don't even go on that particular road. Forget about keeping your gaze down. You take the extra precaution. Like last week or 2 weeks ago, we said that if your plane is at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and you must be there by 9 o'clock, you will leave a bit early because you know what, just to be on the safe side. So this just to be on the safe side is such an effective and such a powerful way of cleansing our nerves and bringing our nerves in control that it will not run away in any way. There's one hadith, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has made mention of 3 things. He says that the best intelligence is this, that you plan. This is a teaching from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. People don't plan. But if a person can plan every day, even if you don't take out a book and plan, tomorrow my day is like this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to meet that person, I'm going to go there, so I'm going to go this way. If you plan, subhanallah, that is intelligence, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. The second thing Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, and there is no better precaution and abstention than exercising this wara, this precaution. That is, you want to stay away from sin, but you don't just stay away from sin, you stay away from that road that is going to take you to the sun. You take another street and you go away from there. And that is the thing that a person should keep in mind. And the third thing Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, that there is no better lineage. Normally we speak of lineage, whose father and who was his son and who was his father and who was his father, right? So people like to be noble lineage. He said that noblest of lineage, there isn't a more nobler lineage than this, that a person, he exercises good taqwa. So what we are saying is that these are the 3 things. The point that we are talking about is the middle one, where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said there isn't a better abstention than this, that a person exercises wara, that is, He's on the safe side. He is double safe. He is double sure. And mental, when it comes to being double safe and double sure, how much of precautions don't we take? We, for our own security also, we'll put extra alarm and put extra locks and we'll put extra whatever it might be, because we don't want to be caught up in anything like that. It is said once Hasan Basri Rahmatullah alayhi met one boy, and he says, tell me something. I want to ask you, that what is the entire sum total of the deen? So the boy replied, the sum total of deen is wara. Wara means the same thing. It's something like taqwa, but even more advanced stage than taqwa. That is that you are double sure and you exercise double precaution and safety when it comes to the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then the second thing he asked him, that the second question, that what is the greatest calamity in the deen of a person? So he said the greatest calamity in the deen of a person is tama'. Tama' means the desires of the nafs. The desires of the nafs are, if they are not brought in control and if you don't become alert, like we say, it will give you all kinds of justification and it will run away with you in such a way that, wherever you see, whatever you see, your desire only is going to be in the front of you. And you will see nothing else but your desire. So, they said there was an incident mentioned about one person. His name was As'ab Tami'. Now, Tami was not his name. Tami comes from Arabic with Tama. Tama means to have this very, very strong desire. Just once he desires all the time. Wherever it is, he just wants to fulfill his desires. So because wherever he sees, you see when the nafs now takes you over, and just, you are trained now just to look, how can I fulfill my desire in a certain way? That means your nafs is now gone way, way beyond all limits. So this person here, it is mentioned about him, that he had such desire that wherever he used to see, if you see somebody putting his hand in his pocket, his desire should tell him, you know what, that man is putting it in his pocket because I think he wants to give me something and I hope he gives me something. So he's putting his hand in his pocket, somebody's putting his hand in his pocket to take out a hanky, and this man, his desires are so much that he desires that I think this man is going to be taking out something to give me. He says that this As'ab Tami', when he saw two people talking, he said, I know what they're talking. They are talking about their will, and they are discussing with each other that when you are making up your will, then don't forget to include a share for As'ab also. So what is that? They say, Billi khab mein cheesh rahi dekhte. That means the cat will only see pieces of meat in its dream, because it's only focused for this. So nafs, if it becomes greedy and just want to fulfill desires, then wherever the nafs is going to run away. That's why we have to make every effort. The same as Tami, it is mentioned once. He was walking through the marketplace and he was passing a section where they make all this sweetmeats, mitai. So he told a sweetmeat fellow, you making your mitai is too small. Man. So the person said, but that's how we make it. He said, must make it bigger. So he said, what's the wisdom in making it bigger? He says that people who buy, they can take out a piece and give me also from there. So one day, As'ab got surrounded by some fellows, young fellows, who wanted to beat him up for whatever reason it was. Now he didn't know how to get out. So he told them, you know what, you fellows are all trying to hit me. But he was a very generous person, whose name was Abdullah Sulami or something like that. He said, you people are wasting your time beating. Abdullah Sulami is busy distributing big stuff today there by his house. People are all busy here trying to hit me. He just said that just to get out of them. So the young people said, oh, that generous person, he gives a lot of stuff for free, So let us all run this. So they left him and they ran. So they all went in the direction of the generous man's house. So As'ab also followed them. So when they came there, they found nothing was being distributed there. So they say, you said something was distributed here? He said, no, I just said that so that I can be saved. He said, but why you came here? Say, I thought maybe there might be just something there for me. So this example is given with regard to, when your desires become so overwhelm you and they take you in such a way, then everything and any haram you're going to commit, whenever you see an opportunity, you are not going to think with iman, you're not going to think with taqwa, you're not going to think with wara. Your nafs is going to take over and your nafs is going to lead you. That's why we have to be careful. So in any case, this person gave talking of tama, What is the musibat of your deen? Your deen is in calamity if you are overtaken by the sickness of your nafs, just wanting and desiring at all times. So Hasan Basri Rahmatullah said to this man, this young person, you are indeed a very, very intelligent. In simple two words, you have basically just given me the sum total of the deen. One is that deen is to exercise precaution, and this is what we must do at all times. Just be careful, just be sure in every aspect, what we eat, what we do, what we say, where we go, where we sit, what we do. Very, very important. Because if we are conscious of that, subhanallah, a big gunnah will come our way, we're not going to even bother about it, because we are worried of the smaller gunnahs. Obviously, it will defeat the purpose that we worry of the smaller thing and the big gunnahs come about, we do it, then it's totally defeating the purpose. That is called a kutteka taqwa, the taqwa of the dog. The dog is making, they say, what kind of taqwa the dog got? The dog, when it urinates, it lifts up one leg so that it can urinate. So the one leg doesn't get messed, but the other three legs get messed. So sometimes, we mustn't be worried only the small things, but when the big things come, we just carry them out. No, the idea is that staying away from the small sins, the little road, the small pathway that can lead us to the major sin, we ensure, we stay away from it because we don't want to go on the big way. We'll conclude on four important things. Sa'id ibn Musayyib rahmatullahi was a tabi'i, extremely pious. He says deen is found in four things. One is, he says, the foundation of all deeds and all activities should be wara. At all, whatever you do, exercise precaution and make sure that you are not doing anything in the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says, the basis of respect for a believer is humility. The more humble a person is, the more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will raise him. So if we want to be, we have this attitude sometimes that who you to tell, hey, you know who you're talking to. You know me. You know my position. You know what I own. You don't know me still. So that arrogance must leave us. That's ego. We must humble ourselves even if we are wronged. And you to stand up for your rights is something else. But be careful how you come across. Allah Ta'ala will raise a person when he exercises tawadhu. Tawadhu means humility. And it says that person who makes shukr at all times, when he is in a good condition, when we say he is on a good wicket, for example, then this shukr is definitely going to take him away into Jannah. And that person who makes sabr at the time when difficulty is overtaking him, then this sabr is going to take him into Jannah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are all beautiful qualities, by the way. These are all the qualities of the heart. This is what is needed in this day and age. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Let's make some zikr.